All right. So with that, I want to welcome you to VIP session number 5. I appreciate everyone being here today. Looks like we're missing quite a few people here today. So they either didn't get the memo and didn't register, or they are not available today. Of course, we record this and send this out to everyone. So, one thing that I highly recommend for those of you that are on the call and you have team members that are not here is make sure that they are staying plugged into the VIP. Make sure that they're getting the information. Make sure that if they miss a call, I know how easy it is to fall behind in life. I know that, we all have good intentions of trying to catch up on a call, but you miss a couple of calls and then it feels like you're just out of touch. And last week, for example, I believe that last week's call was probably one of the more valuable calls that we've done. And if you missed last week's information, the texting and how to set appointments, we strongly encourage you to go back and listen to that. Last week, I sent a recap email out that had all of the calls that we've done so far, so you can get caught up. Definitely do that when you get a chance. For me, I like to, listen to personal development when I'm at the gym. I'm doing cardio. It's boring as all get out anyway. So, throw some headphones in, listen to one of those VIP sessions. Another great opportunity is when you're in the car. We spend a lot of time in the car, so turn your car into a classroom and listen to some of the VIP calls. Go back and listen to that information again. Excuse me, got a little bit of a cold. So if you go back and, I'd encourage you, if you go back and listen to even the first VIP session that we did, which was maximizing the mentoring process, which was another one of the, in my opinion, one of the top calls that we do. You'll hear different things every time that you listen to it. So definitely stay plugged in. And the other thing that I would encourage you to do is if you're not promoting the VIP call, if you're not promoting it to your team, you're missing out on an excellent opportunity, number one, to keep your people plugged in. Because the people that are plugging into this call, if you look, are the people that are at the top of the leaderboard, the people that are producing. It gives them an excellent opportunity to be able to learn, to grow. And so definitely do that. And from a volume standpoint, right? If you're promoting it, that means all of the people in your organization are on an all-in pack as well. So we do these calls as a resource for you. And if you're not promoting them, then you're missing out on a huge opportunity. Now today, I want to talk a little bit about, actually one more housekeeping item. So we did put up a thread last week on Friday. We went through the texting scripts and we demonstrated how easy it is to set an appointment. We talked about your calendar being your boss and how the key to growing this business is just having more conversations. And the key to having more conversations is just setting appointments. And we demonstrated how easy that was last week. And what we did is we actually put a thread up in our Facebook team page, Crypto Club. Hopefully you guys are all members of the Crypto Club on Facebook. And we have an ongoing thread where some of you guys have started to participate. I'd love to see more participation. We gave you guys some great scripts last week. The name of the game is just having conversations. And so I would challenge you guys to start following some of those scripts, start setting some appointments, and you're going to start seeing some great things happen in your business. And when you do set an appointment, post it, take a screenshot and post it. There's an ongoing thread there that you can see. And it's such a great learning experience for everyone just to see the communications and see getting yeses. Because what it does is it builds social proof. It builds belief that this does work, number one. And number two, it gives everybody an idea. And people generally do what they see, not what they're told. So it gives you guys an opportunity to lead out front for your team members. So strongly encourage you, if you have not started to implement some of those things that we talked about last week, definitely start taking some action on those skills that we're teaching. So today we're going to continue on with the topic of recruiting like a rock star, recruiting like a pro. It's impossible to cover recruiting in one session. I found out that it's even impossible in 2 sessions to be able to cover recruiting. I think that we could probably spend, a full day, 5-hour training session just focusing on recruiting in itself. So we're going to keep that topic going just a little bit longer today, and we're going to get into following up today as well. So definitely pull out your pen and paper and let's dive right in. So number one, I'm going to give you guys 4 things that you need to focus on. 4 things that you need to focus on when it comes to recruiting. First of all, number one thing when it comes to recruiting that I want you guys, and this is in no particular order, but here's what I want you to understand. 80% of recruiting is just the preparation. It's just the preparation. So 80% of recruiting is in the preparation. What do I mean by that? So What I'm talking about is downloading the scripts, having them in front of you before you start that prospecting process. If you're brand new, the last page on those scripts has a sheet that you can fill out before you reach out to every single prospect. And what it does is it makes you go through having a mental conversation and prepare for that conversation so that you can sound more confident. You can have the posture that you need to be successful. So take the time to do that until you learn the 8 steps to proper contacting and inviting. So it's in the preparation. I'm also talking about the confidence, right? I mean, and the confidence comes from what? Competence. Just being prepared. So again, downloading those scripts, have them up in front of you, staple them to a wall, print them out. Take some time before you reach out to each prospect to individualize each approach, right? You cannot do a mass approach, the same approach to every single person. Somebody texted me last week and said, hey, does this sound okay to send out to all of my prospects? And the answer to that is no, because every one of your relationships is completely different. You can't blanket an approach because it'll sound like spam and people won't respond to that. You've got to personalize it. And that's why those scripts you can download are so powerful. Also, those texting scripts, download those, get those up in front of you so that you don't have to search for them, so that when you do have a little bit of extra time, you can go right to those scripts, pull them out, copy and paste them. You know what, I would even recommend every time you send one of those texting scripts, you put them in your phone in the notes so you can go back and you can text, paste, and just send them out when you have 5 minutes of free time, when you're sitting at a baseball game, waiting for the kids to be done with practice, or you're waiting in line to pick up the kids at school, or whatever the case might be. So 80% is in the preparation. We're talking about the confidence. We're talking about your belief. We're talking about your posture. When I say posture, what I mean by that is it's not about the goal itself. It's not about achieving the goal of being free or financial. What I'm talking about is the feeling that you will have when you achieve that goal. That's what I'm talking about. That's posture. That's confidence. That's moxie. Listen, you know what? When you start to think about how you would feel, how you would walk, how you would talk, how you would, feel about yourself, how you would feel about your opportunity, that type of confidence is the confidence that you have to have, the swagger almost that you have to have when you're recruiting. I'm not talking about ego. There's a difference between ego and confidence. Ego pushes people away. Confidence attracts people to you, right? I'm talking about your handshake. I'm talking about, your vision. Your big vision attracts people, right? You need to have a big story, you guys. I mean, I'm talking about a big story. What is that story? It's who you want to be. Where are you going to go? What are you going to accomplish? What are the things what's life going to be like to you? And you need to share that story with other people, right? Because as you start to share that story, you start to really build this vision. It's that vision that attracts people to your cause. So these are all things that you need to have very clear, and that's all the preparation. If you haven't taken the time to truly define where it is that you want to go and really write out that dream life and get a very clear picture of it, it's going to be pretty hard to paint a picture of it. I can have a conversation with a prospect and I can say, listen, let me tell you, we're launching a business right now. The people that choose to lock arms with me right now are going to benefit tremendously from where we are going, because you know what, over the next 1 to 2 years, we have an opportunity to be able to capitalize on one of the biggest trends that's ever happened in the world today, which is cryptocurrency. And you know what, in a couple of years, I can completely see myself in a situation where we are generating multiple millions of dollars a month of residual income. And at that point, you know what, I can see where we're renting houses in Italy and spending time in the summer. I can see where we're traveling together, as friends and enjoying time on the beach. I can see donating to those causes. We're going to be in a situation where we are going to be completely debt-free. We're able to declare our financial freedom day. We're able to do the things that we want to do rather than the things that we have to do. And you know what? It all comes back to being a part of this opportunity right now. I can see very clearly over the next couple of years how my life is going to change, and the people that choose to lock arms with me, their life is going to change as well. Do you think people want to be a part of that big vision? Do you guys want to be a part of that big vision? Absolutely, right? So you need to have a big vision, and that all comes back to the preparation. So 80% is in the preparation. 20% is in the process. 3 types of people we're looking for, you guys. 3 types of people, okay? Number 1, we're looking for ambitious people. People that are ambitious, people that want more out of life, people that are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they want to go after it. They're not happy and content with a 9 to 5 and coming home and kicking their feet up and watching AGT or Dancing with the Stars every single night of the week and not doing anything else. They want more out of life. They want freedom. They want to be able to travel. That's the people we're looking for. We're looking for the ambitious type. That's number one. Number two, we're looking for people that hate their job. And know anybody like that? You know anybody that doesn't like their job? You don't have to look very far to find people that don't like their job, and I don't blame them. Every time that I have an appointment at like 8 o'clock in the morning, which is very, very rare, but 8 o'clock in the morning and I get in the car and I start driving somewhere, I look around and I'm just like, how in the world do people do this every day? Like, wake up and get in a car and sit in traffic for an hour. Like, I would rather suck on an exhaust pipe than sit in traffic every day for an hour and drive to work. So I promise you, you don't have to look very far to find people that don't like their job. And number three, people who want more. I'm talking about people who want more. They want more than just, being able to live with maxed out credit cards and broken dreams, living paycheck to paycheck. They want more out of life. So you're looking for people that are ambitious, people that are hungry, people that are motivated. You're looking for people that hate their job, and you're looking for people who want more. Now listen, I want you guys to also understand something. You've got to qualify your prospects. Write this down. You need people, but you don't need any one person. You need people, but you don't need any one person. What do I mean by that? Think about this. We're all looking for people, right? We need people to grow this business. We need to, you need people in your organization. You need customers. You need business builders. But here's the thing. We're not desperate. We don't need any one person. And you guys have to pre-qualify your prospects and don't be so needy. You know what I mean? Like, I get people that reach out to me all the time and they want me to do a 3-way call with their prospect, but they haven't properly pre-qualified that prospect. So, what they're hoping for is if I get on a call, then I can just talk them into the business. And the problem with that is if you talk somebody into the business, you have to talk them to do the business as well. They haven't properly pre-qualified the person. They haven't really taken them through the process. They haven't, the other day I had a request for a call coming into me where, the person was asking if we would pay for them to enroll into the business, and they are asking to get me on a 3-way call with a person. And I'm thinking, wait a second, there needs to be some more pre-qualification here, because this person's obviously not serious, and I'm not going to waste my time. I definitely don't want to waste your time, and I don't want to waste their time either. So just remember that just because somebody expresses interest in your business, don't be afraid to say no. Some of the no's that I've said to prospects were some of the best no's that I've ever given somebody in my life. I don't need to work with anybody, right? I want to work with everybody, but I don't need to work with anybody. I want to work with people that are serious, that respect my time, that want to go and build this business. And sometimes we get so desperate and we're afraid to tell a prospect no for the fear of sending them away. And it doesn't work like that. If they're going to value the opportunity and it's the right person at the right time, they're going to lock arms with you. But you've got to remember to pre-qualify people throughout this process as well. And that's part of that process. So 80% in the preparation, 20% in the process. Here's the third thing that you have to master when it comes to recruiting, you guys, is the invitation. The invitation. And we've spent a lot of time on that over the last couple of weeks. We're not going to get too much into that today. But you really do need to master the skills. If you can't learn how to get somebody to take a look at your opportunity, you're dead in the waters. You're dead in the waters. You've got to learn to master the invitation. The best way to do that is to download those scripts under files on our team page and just use them over and over and over again. Also download those texting scripts and use those to set appointments. But you've got to learn to master the invitation. That's number 3. Number 4 is the presentation. You've got to learn to present. You know what? I know that we do these calls every night of the week, and it's really easy to sit back and go, oh, I'm just going to let Tiffany do the call. I'm just going to let Richie do the call. I'm going to let Darcy now do the call for me. I'm just going to tell you something. The person that holds the marker makes the most money. And the person that does the most presentations ultimately wins. It's period. That's recruiting 101. Your goal should be to get to a point where you can present on your own. It doesn't mean that you still don't use those presentations as part of your toolbox. And I'll share some examples of how you do that a little bit later on today. But you need to learn and get to a point where you can present. How do you present? How do you learn to present? By getting on the calls, plugging in, showing up, listening to the presenters over and over again. Because pretty soon you're going to learn the dialogue. You're going to learn what to say on each slide. And I have people that say to me, I'm not ready. You know what? Yes, you are. The only way you're ever going to be ready is if you just go and do it. I was terrified. Listen, when I used to get on and listen to presenters, my mentors that were giving presentations, I would sit there with a pen and paper and I would take notes on every single slide number 1. And I would sit there and what are they saying? What are the little sayings that they're saying? And I would write it down. Why? Because if it's worth remembering, it's worth writing down. I wouldn't just sit there listening to a presentation while I'm on Facebook and doing other things. I would study the presenters. I would emulate them. And you know what? I would say the exact same things that they would say the exact same way. Why? Because in network marketing, unless you're making 6-figure, there's no unproven ideas. There shouldn't be any unproven ideas. You should be doing exactly what the leaders are doing. So I would study and I would emulate, and I literally, my mannerisms, I would sound like them. Jim Rohn, I would listen to Jim Rohn so much, I'd start to use some of his jokes, and I'd start to, I'd say, where do you think I've learned? Listen, the reason why I love network marketing is because you know what? It gives the average person the opportunity to go to work full time to pay the bills, but in their part-time or spare time, work on building their fortune. It's a powerful statement. That's a Jim Rohn statement. Everything is based around just the people that I've emulated and people that I've learned. And so, I always teach people, get on the calls, get plugged in, because that's where you learn. When I see 25 people on a call and we've got over 1,000 people in our organization, I shake my head. I just think people don't get it. Like, they don't get it that if they truly want to if you really want to build a 6-figure income in this industry, then you got to make a commitment. Now, I understand you can't be on every call, but here's the thing. I make it a priority. I intend on being on every call. Now, I couldn't get on last night's call. I had several launch calls for new teams and I couldn't make it. I wanted to be on Darcy's call. I'm sure she did an amazing job, heard great feedback. I even remember looking at my phone going, dang it, I can't log in right now because I went over on a launch call. And then I had another one right after that. So I don't make every call, but I make it a priority to be on every call because that's where you learn. And that's also part of being a team, right? You got to buy into the idea that we are part of a team, and when we collectively support each other and we all understand that we have a responsibility, that's when our organization really starts to thrive. And you know what? Think about it from this perspective. If you had a prospect that was going to get on a call tonight, would you want that prospect to get on a call with 1 or 2 people? Or would you want that prospect to get on with 30, 40, 50, 60, 100 people? That's why it's so important that we plug in. So again, presentation, learn to present, take notes to learn how to be a presenter. Number 5, follow-up. What more information do you need to make a decision? What more information do you need to make a decision? Those are the 5 recruiting things. I said 4, didn't I? But those are 5. I gave you 1 extra one, a bonus. Those are the 5 things that you really need to comprehend and understand when it comes to recruiting. Now, today, what I want to talk about is how to find prospects. Now, there's a couple of different mentalities that network marketers have. The posers typically have a mental list in their head of the people that they're going to talk to, right? They have a mental list of people. I'm going to talk to Joe. I'm going to talk to Sally. I'm going to talk to Joe, or Fred, and whatever. They have a mental list of who they're going to talk to. Amateurs, you know what? They'll have at least a written list down. They'll have an initial list of people that they put down. But let me tell you something. Pros, they learn to add people to their list every single day. So posers, they have a mental list. Amateurs, they at least have a written list, but they're not really focusing on adding to it. Professionals, they understand that part of their responsibility as a network marketing professional is to add people to that list every single day, right? So first of all, step number 1, as we all know, is you should have a comprehensive list. A comprehensive list that's not just in your head or in your phone, but actually written down somewhere. Something that you can literally look at, and maybe it's a spreadsheet, but I'm a visual person. I've got a big sheet of paper that's this big, that's taped up to my window, that you can go up and I can keep writing names on it. I keep track of who's in process, ultimately who I'm following up with. So you definitely have to have a comprehensive names list. We've talked all about how to do that. Every person that you know should be on there. Every single person that you should know. Go through all of your lists, your phone, social media, your contact list, emails. I asked you guys earlier, how many friends do you have on Facebook? Some of you answered that question. I'd love for you at this point to go ahead and drop into the chat, how many people do you have on Facebook? I'd like to know. So Fran Carter has 743, Alfonso 4,100, Tiffany's maxed out at 5,000, Sean's got 2,451, Ryan's 652. Ryan, you need to start working on building your list a little bit and start reaching out to people. Don, same with you. Linda, same with you. But here's the thing. It's 1,900. Mike Blair. Here's the thing, you guys. Isn't it funny how, look at these numbers, 500, 600, 700, 1900, 1200, 2400. But isn't it interesting that when it comes to network marketing, we've got nobody to talk to. We've got nobody to talk to, but yet there's not one of you yet that has posted that you have less than 500 friends, 700 friends, 600 friends, 992 friends. But yet when it comes to network marketing, we can't come up with 30 people on our list or 50 people on our list. Isn't that interesting? So it really comes back to a belief system, right? At the end of the day. Now, you might say, well, they're not real friends, but they're at least people that you're connected to. And you know what? There may be a little bit of work that you have to do to befriend them a little bit more, or different strategies to approach them, but shouldn't they be on your list, right? At the end of the day, if they're connected to you, and if you're connected to them and you don't know them, then I would say, look, that's a great opportunity for you to start developing a relationship with somebody. Right? So, and I just wanted to do that as an example because that's just Facebook. You guys, some of you have LinkedIn, some of you have Instagram, some of you have, email lists, but yet we have a hard time talking to people or finding people to talk to. So, and another thing, what about the second degree of separation? Professionals learn to ask the question, who do they know? Right? Like, for example, if you're young in this business, we launched a team yesterday there was a guy that just turned 18 yesterday. He's been waiting for the last couple of weeks to get to the point. His name's Tyler, and he was waiting to get to the point where he could turn 18 so he could put a social security number in. He already sponsored his first couple people yesterday. He's 18 years old. And listen, here's the thing. If you're young, it's not about who you know. Do you know what it's about? Who does your mom and dad know, right? Your mom and dad have friends. Your mom and dad have friends of influence. So sometimes we have to ask ourselves, we have to kind of go to the second degree of separation. Who do they know? One thing that you should be doing as a pro is you should be working on adding 2 new people every single day to your list. Jim Rohn talks a lot about, the planting season, the harvesting season, the reaping and sowing. He talks a lot about that. There's a training that you guys can go out and listen to. And it's very, very important that you understand that you've got to continue to keep adding more and more people to that list. It's kind of like planning. You've got to have people to talk to every single day. That's part of the cultivating process. So you've got to make it a priority every day on purpose to come home and at the end of the day say, listen, who did I meet today? Who did I come in contact with? And focus on, when you leave the day in the morning, you should tell yourself, I need to be on the lookout for 2 new people to come home with to add to my list. If you go into a coffee shop and you walk over to the corner, there's probably a board that's on that wall. And on that wall, there's probably hundreds of network marketers or people that are selling and promoting something. Do you think that some of those people might be open to taking a look at another opportunity? So if I didn't have anybody to talk to today, I'd walk into a Starbucks, walk over to the thing, and I'd grab a couple of business cards, and I'd come home and I'd add those people to my list. And you know what? I reach out to them and say, listen, I came across your card, and you know what? I just wanted to reach out and introduce myself. I'm big into networking, and you know what? I'm looking for people that may be open to other opportunities right now. I've recently got involved in a cryptocurrency business, and I'd love to see if you're open to having a cup of coffee and sitting down and talking about it. Can't hurt, right? It's somebody to talk to. There's people to talk to everywhere that you go. Business cards at coffee shops, every little tiny place, mom and pop type of business that I walk in or establishment usually has, different business cards that are on the counter. Man, pick those things up, put them in your pocket, go home, put that on the list, and make a note of where you got that contact from. It's a new contact. It's somebody to talk to. You've got to learn to network on purpose. Don't hide. Some of you guys, it's easy in this business to just hide at home because we don't necessarily have to get out. So I encourage you to get out. Focus on finding opportunities and ways to get out. Join a gym. Go get to know the staff at the gym. I can promise you, just because I used to own health clubs, that the salespeople there, they're probably not making a fortune. And they're the type of people that know how to talk to people and ask questions and listen. So join a gym and start to get to know the people on purpose. Get to know the people behind the counters. Get to know the people when you walk in by first name, so that eventually you can say, listen, let me ask you a question. You're such a friendly guy. I mean, I know that you're working behind the counter here, and I'm sure you enjoy what you do, but is this what you see yourself doing for the rest of your life? The reason why I ask is because I'd love to have somebody like you on my team. What do you think they're going to say? What do you do? Funny you should ask. Listen, if I sent you over a presentation, would you be willing to take a look at it and let me know what you think? So again, you need to become more acutely aware of what's going on around you. You need to learn to ask the right questions. Everywhere you go, just know this. Everywhere you go, somebody is fighting a battle. Everywhere you go, someone is fighting a battle, and you hold the solution in your hands. So you're selfish if you don't share it. Because everywhere you go, people are fighting, people are struggling. They're all looking for ways to be able to create more income. They're looking for more time in their life to be able to do what they want to do rather than what they have to do. And everybody is looking for better peace of mind and better health. And we have the ability to be able to give it to them. And yet we are so scared to talk to somebody about it. So think about that. Everywhere you go, how many of you guys know somebody that's going to go to bed tonight saying a prayer asking for financial solutions? I promise you that everywhere you go, every face that you look at, they're internally battling something. And in most cases, 80% of the time, it's finances. Finances. They're struggling because of their finances. They can't sleep at night because they're so sick because they don't know how they're going to pay for the next house payment or the next car payment. And you have a solution that could change their life. That's where you've got to get yourself mentally to that place. Top leaders pay attention to everybody that they meet. They truly pay attention to everyone that they meet, everywhere that they go. They look for opportunities to connect everywhere they go. They look for opportunities to make a friend everywhere that they go. Ask yourself, who did I meet today? And then add them to your list. Here's the thing, guys. You want to know what my secret is? I'm going to share my secret with you right now. You can't out-friend me. You can't out-friend me. That's my secret. You can't out-friend me because that's my purpose. Everywhere I go, I meet friends. That's the secret. You can't out-friend me. I'm looking to just meet friends everywhere that I go. And here's the thing, and I want you guys to really understand what I'm about to share with you. If you want to be an icon, you better learn to build a friendship first. If you want to be an icon, icon's the top rank in this company if you don't know, you got to learn how to build a friendship first. That's how it works. You got to learn how to build friendships. Now, I want to talk a little bit about recruiting up for a moment. A lot of times we get into the business and we're very intimidated to reach out to anybody that we know that's successful. We tend to want to recruit down. It makes us feel a little easier to talk to somebody that's either at our social level, income level, or below. But when it comes to people that are higher, we're intimidated, right? Every one of you has a chicken list. And here's what I want you to understand. First of all, number one, there's a reason why those people have gotten to the level that they're at. It's because they're opportunists, and in most cases, they're not willing to pass on an opportunity without at least looking at it. They're ambitious. Most of them have more than one source of income. And right now, I'm guessing that most of the people that are successful or affluent that you know are at least aware of cryptocurrency. They're at least aware of it. They may not know what it is in depth, but they're aware of it. And if they're savvy, they're curious. So sponsoring up is the act of going after those that are successful. It's the moving up the socioeconomic ladder instead of moving down. And people who are successful in their field, they're more likely to have that expandable income and are more likely to be excited about enrolling in your business. And sponsoring up also gives you a good chance to network with others that are successful by asking them who they know. Every time that you meet somebody, it's like a doorway to an entire new world. I posted that on my wall today. Every time you meet someone new, it's like a doorway to an entire new world. So in order to recruit for your MLM business, you need to always be observant. We've talked about that. You always need to be prepared. You don't let any opportunities pass you by. So you need to take advantage of the selling market. I think that the selling market is probably, when it comes to cold market, the best place to harvest new people to talk to. What am I talking about? These are people that are trying to sell you something, right? They're already in, they're in your inbox. They're people that call you. If a telemarketer calls me, I turn it around on them. Hey, listen, you're really good at what you do. You've got a great personality. Are you open right now to other income streams? I can promise you the person that's working at a telemarketing place isn't all that content, right? So somebody that inboxes you, you're really bored one day, don't have anybody to talk to, go through your junk box and look at the thousands of mail that you have in there and just start emailing them back. Hey, listen, you know what? I appreciate you sending me this. I don't know if this is for me, but you know what? I want you to know that I have recently come across an opportunity in the crypto space that you might be interested in taking a look at. I'd love to be able to schedule a time to be able to meet, connect, develop a new friendship, and just share with you what I'm up to. I've done that, and I've got people that have responded before. So they may be interested in what you're offering, because guess what? If they're selling, they're in that mindset already anyways. They're already in that mindset. They're already in the I have to eat what I have to kill mindset. So finding prospects, recruiting for MLM, it's as easy as just looking around you guys. It's easy as just opening up your eyes a little bit. Anytime that you are approached with a sales pitch, let that person know about your opportunity. I'm going to challenge you guys for that. Challenge that. Let me say that again. I'm going to challenge you guys to do that. Really be conscious of that over the next week. And I'd love for someone to share a story of somebody that tried to sell them something and they turned around. Again, check bulletin boards and community forums for listings from people who they're trying to sell a product or a service or a candle or whatever the case might be. Stay alert to the possibilities that present themselves to you. Prospecting takes creativity. It takes creativity. You got to be creative with who you target. You got to think outside the box to open up more possible prospects. You got to think outside the box. Remember that the world around you, there's opportunity everywhere. And in order to tap into all of these possibilities, you got to be perceptive. You got to be tenacious. You got to build your network marketing business by sponsoring up. And you got to make sure to take advantage of all of the possibilities that present themselves to you every single day. Recruiting, it's not this daunting task if you just have the confidence that you need to succeed. That's it. It's just about having the confidence and knowing what you bring to the table. Tiffany says, I posted on the thread the other day on One Eye Flipped. Perfect. That's right, you did. She put a post up on the thread that shared somebody that was trying to pitch her, and she flipped them around. Guys, if you think about it, there's no shortage of people to talk to. 80% of the people that you come in contact with don't have, get this, 80% of the people that you come in contact with don't have 3 months savings in the bank. They are one crisis away from losing everything. 80%. There's not a shortage of people to talk to you about our business if you truly understand what you have. So let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about following up. Josephine says, I call it making aware of what's available. Mawa, I like that. To see if they're open and looking, because if they are, they will inquire more. If not, I'll just go from an ear to another ear. I love that. Thank you, Josephine. I appreciate that. So following up. So we've put people in process. We've talked about how to put people in process. The marketing funnel looks like this. First, you've got your first exposure, which is usually a conversation, right? And we've already talked a lot about, this is the key to your business right here. The more conversations you have, the more interest you will have. That was the whole point of last week's training. Those text messages make it easy for you to create these conversations. If you're not having conversations, you're dead in the water. So you got to learn how to do that. And so conversations ultimately lead to what? Invitations. Invitations to do what? It might be the 4-minute video. For somebody that is casual and doesn't even understand mining or cryptocurrency at all, I might send them the golden goose video. Would you rather have the egg or the golden goose? 4-minute video about crypto mining, just to start educating them, right? Because remember, all we're doing is we're educating. That's our job. We're not salespeople. We're educators. We're just educating. Some of the top network marketers in the world today, we're all teachers first. Why? Because they're great at educating. So 4-minute video, and then it might be, hey, from there, you know what, I'd really like to invite you to one of our educational seminars. We've got this great educational seminar where we teach people about what's happening in the world of cryptocurrency. It's fascinating. My good friend, Darcy and Al, they're hosting this presentation tonight. They've got this killer story. Like, they used to own this pet store with all these reptiles and things, and they got involved in crypto. And all of a sudden, now they've sold the pet store. They're doing this full time, and they become like the king and queen of cryptocurrency. And they call themselves the king and queen of crypto, and they're like rocking and rolling, and they've got this amazing story, and they're going to tell it tonight. You might want to hop on and listen in, right? So now they get on a 30-minute presentation, and what's happening? They're being educated some more. And then from there, now it's time to follow up. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Now it's time to follow up. And the objective simply is to identify who's interested and who's ready to have a conversation, right? So that eventually we can do what? We can collect a decision. And notice my funnel's getting smaller. But it's kind of hard, it's kind of hard when you've only got 5 people in the funnel. Here's what you want to know what a poser does in network marketing? They look at it as this is a lottery ticket, okay? Kuvera is a lottery ticket, and you know what? I got 5 scratch-offs here, and this is what they do, okay? They got 5 people in their mind that they're going to try and maybe reach out to about this business. In most cases, they don't take the time to master the invitation, so they usually throw up on the person when they invite them. They say too much. They give the presentation during the invitation. Person forms an opinion without knowing all the facts. They haven't been taken through the education process, and then what do they say? I'm not interested in one of those things. So here's what happens. It's like scratching it off. Okay, I'll scratch this one off. Let's see here. This is my buddy Joe. Joe, not interested. Darn. Didn't make any money there. Didn't win anything. Let's go ahead and call my Aunt Susie. Susie, nope, not interested. Another bust. Another X. Didn't make any money on that one. Okay, I'm going to call my cousin Johnny. Johnny, not interested. I think I've got a dud here. This one's not working, right? So let's call Sally. Sally will definitely do this. She's she's doing another opportunity. She's not interested. And at this point, they're like, I've only got 1 shot left to make a ton of money. Mom, come on, you got to help me out here. Like, Mom, please help me out, right? Call Mom. Mom's just like, that's a scam. What are you doing? Go get a job. Go back to college. And now they're like, I got a loser. This ticket's a loser. I'm done. They throw it on the floor and they're out. I've talked to everybody that I know. Like everybody. I've talked to everyone and nobody's interested in my business. Does this sound familiar to you guys? Does that sound familiar? Oh, my wife's telling me I need to tone it down a little bit. Am I getting a little too excited? The meatloaf. That's what it is. So that's what most people do. So let's go through a couple of things that you need to understand about following up. Okay, I want you guys to write these down. Number 1, I'll actually write them down too, so it'll help you kind of keep track. Number 1 is you got to know your worth. You got to know your worth. When it comes to following up, you got to know the value that you bring to the table. You got to know that you have an opportunity that can change people's lives. Okay, you're not needy. You're confident in your goals and dreams. You know where you're going. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. You couldn't convince me that 2 years from now that I won't be making millions of dollars a month in this opportunity. You couldn't convince me of that. I know. Today, what we're doing right now is just laying the foundation. And as we keep putting more and more customers in, most of them are compounding. And over time, the value of those customers is going to dramatically go up. And a year from now, it's going to be really cool. But today, I'm just putting in the work. I know where I'm going. It's going to be awesome. I can't even wait to get to next year. And I know what I'm bringing to the table. And because I know, other people know too. If you don't value what you bring to the table, why would anybody else value what you bring to the table? Think about that. If you don't really value what you bring to the table, 80% of the people can't afford, they don't have 3 months savings in the bank. And you have the ability to change their life. Start acting like it. Okay? Number 2, no is a requirement for success. No is a requirement for success. You can't get there unless you get a no. There's a book out there that my friends wrote called Go for No. And Richard Fenton and Andrea wrote that book. And it's a great book. It's a little short, little skinny book, but it's Go for No. The concept is if you start going for no's instead of yeses, along the way you'll get some yeses, but you won't be as disappointed. So no is a requirement for success. Number 3, out of every 100 oysters, there's 3 pearls. There's 3 pearls. Got to go through 100 people to find 3 pearls. So if I talk to 5, am I going to be successful? If I put 5 people in that funnel, am I likely to get a pearl to come out of it at the bottom? No. For every 100 oysters, there's only 3 pearls. Okay? Number 4, you got to fall in love. That's my heart. Fall in love with the process. Okay, another way of saying it is you've got to marry the process and divorce the results. So the process, the nuts and bolts, the approach, right? The contacting, the inviting, the texting message. Hey, will you look at my opportunity? You have you have to fall in love with the process and divorce yourselves from the results. Whether somebody says yes or no, doesn't matter to me. Some will, some won't. So what next? At the end of the day, it's just falling in love with the process. It's important, that not the result. So fall in love with the process, not the result. Okay. Number 5, other people's opinions are irrelevant. Other people's opinions are irrelevant. Okay? Everybody's got an opinion. I won't say the saying that I'm thinking of, but you probably know what it is. Everybody's got an opinion. We don't go around going, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, an accountant. Oh, you're an accountant. Oh my gosh. Oh my God, I can't believe you're an accountant. No one's doing that. Like, we don't do that to other people. So you got to give up. Well, you can't pay your bills with other people's opinions. You've got to get outside of that. Like, you got to let that go. That should have been let go back in high school. We're at a point in life where we're here to take care of our families. And if you're so worried about what other people think of you, that's like the worst prison that you could possibly ever live in. You got to let go of that. And I struggled with this in the first couple of years because, people that are outside of network marketing, they don't get it. They really don't. Like, they look down on you in some cases. Some of my friends look down on me for being a network marketer. Many of my friends laughed at me when I got involved in network marketing. They made fun of me.
They laughed at you when you got married and had 6 kids too. So.
Summer's over here going, they made fun of me when I got married and had 6 kids too, when I got married young, right? But here we are 20 years later. So what's funny is many of those friends that made fun of us, most of them have approached me along the way and said, how were you able to accomplish what you accomplished? So you just got to let go of that. The price that ignorance from small-minded people is the price that you will have to pay to be successful in this business. Ignorance from small-minded people is the price you will have to pay to be successful in network marketing. But you know what? I got a lot of new friends now. I got a lot of friends all over the world. And you know what? They get it. Like, they get it. So that's important. Other people's opinions are irrelevant. Number 6. It's natural when you follow up with prospects that it's like natural for them to want to sound smart. Like, you ever have the armchair scholars that want to tell you, no, I've been, cryptocurrency is really volatile right now. And they're all of a sudden, they become an expert at cryptocurrency. Like, that's natural. You have to understand that it's natural for your prospects to want to sound smart. But it's also important that you don't get defensive. There's a difference between defense and offense. Okay? There's a difference between defense and offense. So sometimes you're going to get people that they go through this process of they want to know, and so here's the thing. If they're a cynic, don't even waste your time. Like, a cynic is somebody that no matter what you say, you can't change their mind. Like, I can't get off the phone with a cynic fast enough. A skeptic is somebody that, they have an opinion, but they're at least open to being educated. They're open to looking more before they form an opinion. So, and just know that when there's objections, they typically fall into one of 2 categories. When there's an objection, so objections, usually it means one of 2 things, okay? The first thing that it means is, I don't have money, okay? That's the first one, okay? Objections fall into 2 categories. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me change that. Let me change that a little bit. So the first one is limiting beliefs in themselves. That's the first one. So objections, the first thing is limiting belief in themselves. So a lot of times when people say no, what they're really saying no to is, I don't think I can be successful in this environment. Why do you think that it's so important that we follow a very simple approach of contacting and inviting your prospect, right, by sending them to a third-party presentation, following up, doing a 3-way follow-up call? Because your prospect is not just evaluating your opportunity, they're evaluating your approach. Because they're saying, could I see myself doing what they're doing? Could I see myself being successful in this environment? So the first objections that you'll usually get are limited belief in themselves. And the second one is limited belief in network marketing. Limited belief in network marketing. And a lot of people fall into this category. A lot of people have horror stories. You know, they're the ones that got into the business, and most people, they looked at it like a lottery ticket. They're the posers that we talked about. You know, think about it. Think about the objections that you get. I don't have any money. Is that really true? Like, is it really, really true? Now, they may be broke, but could they come up with the money if they really, 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 really wanted it bad enough? 99% of the time, yes. They could. That's one of the objections that you get. I don't have the time. Is that a real objective? No, it's not a real objective. We all have the same amount of time. It's all about priorities. I don't know anyone. How many friends do you have on Facebook? Is that really that objective? Is that really the objective, or what's behind it? One of these two things. Too young. Okay. So what about your parents? Who do they know? I'm too old. A lot of other people just like you that are retired, but they're not ready to sit down yet. So the truth is at the end of the day, it really comes back to these two things. Our job is to make sure, number one, avoid making people feel stupid. You know, whenever they give you an objective, that's more on the defensive side. So look for opportunities to relate. Okay? Look for opportunities, feel, felt, found is great. I understand how you feel. I had a guy the other day that says, listen, I invited him to take a look. You might have seen this in our thread because I took a screenshot of it. He says, well, my dad says that cryptocurrency is crap, but I'm willing to take a look. I says, I understand how you feel. You know what? Because I felt the same way. But let me tell you what I found. After researching it for the last year, I have a totally different opinion now. So feel, felt, found. Look for opportunities to relate. And let's talk a little bit about first just about the limiting belief in network marketing, right? Again, so let's go back to the lottery ticket guy, right? That the person that, they've got 5 squares on the ticket, they've got 5 friends in mind, the friends say no, they scratch it off, they're begging now, and it didn't work for them. And now they've got this tainted image of network marketing. Network marketing they get mad, like they're mad. They're mad at network marketing because it didn't work. I talked to everybody that I know. I had a horrible upline. So, you know what's funny? Most of you are here because someone hit one of those scratch-offs at one point. You were one of the ones that scratched off and you said yes. They're like, yeah, I got a winning ticket. Most of you are here because of that, if you think about it. But here's the thing. So when you hear, is this one of those MLMs? Is this one of those themes? Just know this is what they're really saying right here. This is what they're really saying. They're really saying, I tried one of those 5 things. So the next time somebody shows you a limiting belief, just ask the question. Sounds like you have a story. What has your experience been? Sounds like you have a story. What has your experience been? Well, I was involved in USI Tech and it closed down. I was involved in Bit Club, Bit Connect, it closed down. Right? I had a horrible upline. I was involved in 4 of these things, never made any money in any of them. Okay? Let me ask you another question. If I could show you, if I could help you find a company that was legal and ethical and something that you really could believe in, would you be open to taking a closer look? Well, yeah. Let me ask you something. I know that your upline was the worst person on the world and they totally were the reason why you were not successful. But let me ask you this. If you had an upline that was willing to lock arms with you and really show you how to build this business, really teach you the ins and outs, would that make a difference for you? Would you be more open to taking a look at the opportunity? Do you see what we're doing is you're just trying to figure out what the experience has been. The key is again, number one is to relate. I totally understand how you feel. I've been in that same situation before. And then ask questions. Okay? So what was your experience? Sounds like you've got a story there. What was your experience? And number 3 is just tell stories. Look, I've been in the same situation. Let me tell you, when I first got started, my situation. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, after you had this conversation, it gives you an opportunity to just say, look, no matter how much money that you and I make, we all end up with the same amount of money at the end of the month. So I looked at this and I said, if I can invest $269, it was worth it to be able to travel and go create some extra income and invest that income into an income producing asset that really could help me start putting a wealth plan in place for the next 3 to 5 years. So it just made sense to me. So I guess my question to you is if you knew that you could be a part of a company that was legal and ethical and a company that you could trust, is that something that you'd be open to just taking a little bit closer look at? So that's the objection side of things. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's kind of get into just some strategies here. I think I've got about 10 minutes left. All right, so first of all, closing is a natural byproduct of following up. That's what I want you to understand. Don't be afraid of closing. A lot of people get follow up and they don't know how to close the sale. So you need to understand that closing is a natural byproduct of following up. So the first thing is you need to understand when it comes to following up, the key is to lead your prospect. So the key is to lead your prospect from one exposure to the next, right? Lead your prospect from one exposure to the next. Remember the funnel that we talked about, okay? So it starts with that conversation, then it's maybe a 4-minute video or a 30-minute presentation, and then a 3-way follow-up call. And here's the thing I want you guys to know. A lot of people get stuck right here, okay? A lot of people get stuck in this gap where they're just avoiding making a decision. I want you to know something. That's natural. That's normal. People will avoid making decisions because decisions require them to take action, or decisions require them to step outside of their comfort level. Decisions require them to step into the unknown. So they'll avoid this, even if they want to do this business. So just because someone's not giving you a decision doesn't mean they're not interested. Just because they're not responding to you doesn't mean they're not interested. I get 70 to 80% of my people that I put in process get stuck in this gap. So my job is to get them. My job is to get them from one exposure to the next in as short a period of time as possible. Just know that when somebody gets into your funnel, time becomes the enemy. So the longer you wait, the less interest they'll have because it just gets put to the back of their mind. So my goal is to get them on that 4-minute video and get them to the 30-minute presentation that night. And then from there, it's to get on a 3-way call as soon as possible. But sometimes they disappear. So what I do is I use our nightly calls to rekindle the fire. So what I'll do is say, listen, hey, I do this every single week. It works so good. I'll reach out to a prospect and say, hey, listen, I just wanted to let you know, young girl named Tiffany's hosting the presentation tonight. She's a millennial. She didn't know that much about cryptocurrency when she first came to the business. 120 days later, they call her the crypto lady boss. She's killing it, crushing it right now. Got an amazing story, making a full-time income here. And you know what? She's going to share her story tonight, and she's going to tell how she did it. Are you interested in listening in? So they're like, yeah, I'm interested in hearing that story. Why? Because they relate. They don't know much about crypto. It's something they want to hear a success story. They want to know because they're comparing themselves, saying, well, maybe I can do it too. So what do? I get them back on a call again. And even though it's the same presentation they've heard, it's somebody different doing it. And so now all of a sudden they're re-hot again, and now I move them to the next step. So you need to understand that the goal is just educating and understanding. And the way that we do that is you lead your prospects from one exposure to the next in as short a period of time as possible. Again, posture is everything throughout this process. We've already talked about that. The next thing is that you need to ask good questions throughout the process. When I get on a call with a prospect, what do I always say? You guys know, you've heard me 1,000 times. Anybody's done a 3-way call, hey, listen, we can talk about business in just a minute, but before we get started, tell me a little bit about yourself. I'd love to get to know you a little bit better. And then after that, what do you do for a living? What's your favorite thing about what you do? What's your least favorite thing about what you do? I'm asking questions because I want to know what their motivation would be to get started. Okay? And again, you've got to become emotionally detached. This can be hard, especially when you really want someone or need someone. When we're in worst time, whenever I need to make money or need to make a sale, I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat. So you got to emotionally detach. Okay, it's marry the process, divorce the results. We've already talked about it. You got to be prepared. You got to be prepared before you follow up. You got to have that mental conversation in your mind. You've got to have the information that you need. You got to be ready to have that conversation. If you're brand new, you need to make sure that you've already coordinated with your upline about a 3-way call. And then here's 6 simple steps to following up and closing. I'm having a tough time on my board here. My little stand here is about to die on me. It's about time for a new one. Okay, so here's what I typically say, okay? Here's a couple of different things that you can say to your prospects when you follow up with them. So this is the follow-up. Simple one. Hey, Alfonso, what did you like best about what you heard? Notice I didn't say, what did you think? This is, what did you like best? Why I'm provoking a positive response. That's going to lead to conversation. And from there, we can see what their interest is. So what did you like best? Here's another one. Sometimes on a three-way call, I just want to get to the point. And so I'll just ask them, hey, listen, on a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being not interested at all, and 10 being ready to go, where are you right now? Well, I'm a 7. That's what they'll usually say. I'm about a 7 or an 8. Cool. What do we need to do to get you to a 10? I just need to know more about the comp plan. Cool. Let's go ahead and draw it out. I mean, that's all they need to get to a 10. So now I draw the comp plan out and say, okay, what can I do to help you get started? All right, what can I do to help you get started? Right after you've answered their questions, what can I do to help you get started? These are closing statements. What can I do to help you get started? Okay. Another thing you could ask someone, hey, let me ask you a question. Based on what you've seen, if you were to get started with Kuvera part-time, how much money would you need to make it worthwhile? How much money would you need to make it worthwhile? Well, I don't know, an extra $1,000 a month would make it worthwhile. Why? What would that do for you? See, asking more questions. Why? What would that do? Well, it would allow me to be able to pay down some debt. Is that kind of a source of pain for you? Is that, what would that feel like to be able to pay? Oh, I'd feel amazing. Well, what would you do if you, had an extra $1,000 a month? Now I could invest it. Where would you invest it? Mining? Good choice. See how I kind of moved that right along? So, you could ask them another question from there. Well, how many hours would you be willing to put in to make that $1,000 a month per week? I could put at least 5 to 10 hours a week into it. Okay. All right. So, how many months would you be willing to work to get to a point where you're making $1,000 a month residual? I'd be willing to work, as long as it takes if it took me to get to $1,000 a month, or 3 months, or 6 months. If they say a month, I'd be like, okay, you're probably not what we're looking for. This isn't the lottery, but we can show you how to get there, but it's going to take some time. Remember, setting proper expectations right up front. Well, listen, if I can help you, right? So now you're not a salesperson, you're serving. If I can help you to accomplish those goals, if I can help you get to $1,000 a month, and I can help you to pay down that debt so you have another $1,000 a month to start mining and put you into a position 3 to 5 years from now where you've got a 6-figure asset and now you've got time freedom and all the things that you've told me you're looking for, if I can help you accomplish that goal, is that something that you're ready to get started with today? Right? If I would you. See, remember what you do, you guys. You help people create additional income streams in their lives. That's what you do. That's what you do. In closing today, the how, all the stuff that we're talking about, it's only about 10% of what takes you to your goal. The how is what takes you to your goal, or only about 10% of what takes you to your goal. Your goal is not to become an MLM professor, okay? Professors don't make the big money, artists do. So you need to become an artist. You need to just go do it. Create the canvas that go, and one size doesn't fit all, but you need to go just do it. And let me tell you something. Let me tell you why it's worth it. Because of the career that you will create. I never would have thought 15 years ago that me going to that silly meeting where the guy drew on a board and drew circles on a board would have led me to where I am today. Never would have imagined in my wildest dreams me doing a presentation teaching you about network marketing. I was so scared to even pick up a marker. And for those of you that think you're not ready to present, I'm going to tell you right now, you are. You can either let fear control you or you can get control of your fear. But that's the natural progression. If you want to be big, if you want to make it big in this business. Number 2 is because of the freedom that you'll enjoy. The freedom. To be able to sleep until I'm done. I don't wake up to an alarm clock. I wake up when I'm done, unless Ryan or Sean are trying to get me to a 3-way call at 6 in the morning. So I sleep until I'm done. I don't wake up to an alarm clock. 10 o'clock in the morning yesterday, I was out there with legends swimming in the pool. The freedom, it's worth it. To be able to stand back and say, look at what we built. Like, there's no better feeling, you guys, than 2 to 3 years from now, looking back, going, I played a part in that. That's a $500 million company a year, and we played a part of that. We were there at the beginning. We were the pioneers. It's the pioneers they write about in the history books. The lives that you will touch, the impact. It only takes $1,000 a month to seriously impact most people's lives. The lives that you will touch, the people that you'll meet. Some of my best friends are people that I met in network marketing. The people that you will meet, the places that you'll see. I never thought I'd go to Lima, Peru, Singapore, Australia, Mexico, all these different places that I've been around the world because of network marketing. I never would have ever in my wildest dreams thought that I'd be in Thailand, all because of network marketing. The causes that you can contribute to, it feels good to be able to throw people money when they're hurting and struggling and suffering and not have to worry about it. It feels amazing. And here's the best one, the person that you will become in the process. Because I'm a totally different person than I was 10, 15 years ago. Argentina soon, that's right. I'm a totally different person. You guys, I'm a better husband. I'm a better father. I'm a better community leader. I'm a better leader to my team. I'm a better friend because of the principles that I've learned inside of this industry. People think that it's about the money. It's not. It's about who you become in the process and who you help along the way. The money is a byproduct of those two things. Never forget that. It's about who you become in the process and who you help along the way. The money is a byproduct of those two things. That's all I've got for you. So I'm going to open it up. Well, real quick, one more thing before you go. Don't go yet. Please, if you would, number one, if you would please leave a comment in both our team page and on our Telegram chat. Very, very important. We want to build value in this call for you guys so that your team members get on this call. That's very, very important. Number two, I'm going to take a quick picture. Everybody, you guys mind? Anybody that's willing to turn on their camera, will you turn it on real quick? I want to take just a quick screenshot of everybody. Everybody that's here. Take a quick picture. See Mr. Blair there. See Sean's smiling face. Colleen's smiling face. Don, thank you. Gio, okay. Everybody that's willing to turn it on. What's up, Dexter, my man? Friend Carter, Linda. All right, so hang on a second here. I have to take two of them. I can't get everybody on one screen, so we're going to do this one first. All right. Here we go. And there's Tiffany. All right, and everybody wave. All right, let me go to one more time. Let me go to the next slide here. Okay, we're done. And here we go. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Everybody wave. All right. If you guys would, please leave a comment in the groups for us so we can build value. If you got some value out of this, and if anybody wants to share any comments or anything that they'd like to share or anything that stood out to them, I'm totally would love to hear some comments, thoughts, feedback. I just allowed anyone that wants to unmute. Time is yours. So anybody have any comments or thoughts or questions or anything they want to throw out there? Anything that stood out to you today?
What's going on, Travis? It's Matt.
Hey, Matt. What's shaking, brother?
Nothing much, brother. Yeah, the one thing about the whole prospecting thing, like I said, I watched the video before, and people don't understand when they're driving around, they see plenty of signs of people to talk to. Like I said, I work in pest control right now. At the moment, hopefully soon I'll be not working in pest control anymore. But I see realtor signs everywhere I go. So I take the time and sit down and write the number down so I give them a call. And like you said, just to find out if they're open to it.
Absolutely. Realtors are great prospects. Never a shortage of realtors out there. Anybody else have any thoughts, comments, feedback? You're welcome, Wanda. What are you cooking us, Mike? I see Mike Blair cooking something up in the kitchen. He's watching. Ryan Galloway's a realtor. Any other thoughts, comments, feedback before we wrap up, or any questions? Silence the crowd today. Okay.
Hey, Travis.
Yes, sir. Hey, Sean.
One thing I would say is what you said at the end, I think is super powerful, is understanding that we're impacting people's lives with this opportunity. And that's something that I try and be very cognizant of, because everybody's in a different financial and time freedom situation. And we have the ability to actually impact that in a greater way to create a massive footprint, that changes the story of their life potentially. So I just love what you had to say about that, because the money will follow the value that we provide.
Absolutely. Dollars follow value. Thanks, Sean. All right. Well, guys, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. And let's go out and promote the heck out of this call next week so that we can get more and more people involved. If somebody wasn't on here that was on your team that missed it, make sure that they listen to it. And we've got a big call tomorrow morning, getting started training. That first 30 days, it's very important that you, number one, learn it, and then you know how to teach it. So come tomorrow with some pens and papers on that morning training. We're going to lay out the first 30 days of the launch strategy here. And if you're not registered for Vegas, get yourself registered ASAP. We're going to be doing some great team events. We've got a big party that we're planning in the suite, an off-site event that we're going to be planning as a group. And so we want you guys to be there as well. So with that, thanks so much for tuning in, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye now.